So it's officially been 6 months since I signed those divorce papers. 6 months since I untangled myself from a man who betrayed me in every way possible. You'd think I'd be crying over the end of my marriage, but no. I'm celebrating. I'm free. And the road to this moment? Buckle up. It's wild. Let me tell you how I went from devoted wife to villain in his twisted fairy tale, and how I watched him marry his mistress and then try to destroy me with fake texts, stolen photos, and straight-up lies. But guess what? I'm still standing. It started like most stories do, bright, hopeful, and stupidly in love. My ex and I got married after 2 years of dating. We were in a long-distance situation for most of it. He had to finish school abroad, and I was working on my career stateside. We made it work through late-night calls, care packages, and yes, some risky photos. I'm not proud of that now, but I trusted him. He was my husband. At least I thought he was. The distance started to take a toll. He stopped calling as often. He always had an excuse: school, sleep, stress. But I felt it in my gut. Something wasn't right. At first, I thought I was being paranoid. He still texted sweet things sometimes. He still said he loved me. But then, I started seeing weird things. A new girl commenting on all his posts. Late-night calls that went ignored. And one day I saw it. A selfie of them at a coffee shop, grinning. I wasn't tagged. It wasn't public. But I have friends who watch out for me, and one of them sent it to me. That's when I knew. I confronted him. He denied it, of course. Swore she was a friend, that I was just being insecure. But something had shifted in his voice. The warmth was gone. I felt crazy, but not wrong. A month later, I found real proof. She had been in our house. She had worn my clothes. She had used my shampoo. I know, because I had security cameras. And the footage didn't lie. When I confronted him again, he finally admitted it. He told me he caught feelings, that he didn't mean to fall for her, that he didn't know how to tell me, and just like that, our entire marriage crumbled. I filed for divorce the next day. He barely fought it. That should have been the end. But oh, it was only the beginning. 1 month after our divorce was finalized, I got a message on Facebook from her. No words, just a picture of a wedding ring and a caption, "Guess who's the wife now?" Yep, they got married. I just blocked her. But that wasn't enough for them. Not even close. Soon after, strange messages started coming in. Friends reaching out, asking me if it was true that I'd cheated first. People whispering about text messages, fake ones, where I supposedly confessed to sleeping around before our wedding. Photos I had once sent to my husband were suddenly being used to prove I was some kind of homewrecker. He and his new wife, they didn't want people to know the truth, that he had cheated, that she had stolen, that they were liars. So they made up their own version of events. And to top it off, they got his mom involved. She started telling everyone at the mosque that I wasn't pure when we married, that I had tricked their son. It was humiliating. But I didn't fight back. Not then. Instead, I focused on healing. I deleted the photos, blocked every burner number, ignored the taunting. They wanted a reaction. They didn't get it. But you know what I did do? I gathered receipts. I documented every message, every fake text, every inappropriate photo they used. I archived posts, screen-recorded stories, and built a digital folder of evidence. Because one day, I knew I'd need it. And then, karma started to work its magic. Turns out, his new wife had enemies too. One of her old friends reached out to me, someone she'd burned before, and said, "I think you should know what she's planning." She sent me screenshots. Proof that the mistress, now wife, had been impersonating me on forums. Creating fake accounts, pretending to be me to spread rumors, It was harassment, and it was illegal. I spoke to a lawyer, just to know my options. With everything in hand, I filed a restraining order. And guess what? It was granted. She had to stop contacting me, stop impersonating me, stop harassing me. And when that paperwork hit their doorstep, suddenly, the late-night texts stopped. The taunts stopped. The silence was loud and beautiful. So here I am, 6 months divorced. I've started therapy. I've got my own apartment. I've started dating again. Not seriously, but slowly. I've reconnected with family, joined new social groups, and even started journaling. I'm finally figuring out who I am outside of the lies, outside of the shame, outside of being his wife. I'm just me, and I'm enough. To anyone out there who's stuck in the middle of a messy breakup, a smear campaign, a betrayal that's gutted you, let me tell you this. You will survive. People can lie about you, try to rewrite your story. But the truth has a funny way of showing up, louder and stronger than the noise. You don't need to fight every rumor. You just need to keep living well. Because your peace? That's the loudest response. If you made it this far, thank you. This wasn't just a story about betrayal. It's a story about freedom, about reclaiming your power after someone tries to tear it away from you. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if this resonated with you. And if you've got your own story of survival, drop it in the comments. I read them all. Until next time, stay strong, stay kind, and never let the villains win. I didn't think I'd ever find myself here, telling this story, replaying the betrayal, the pain, the confusion. But I guess that's what healing does. It forces you to face the wreckage you tried to bury. Let me take you back to the beginning. Her name was Alina. We met at a university event 2 years ago. She was everything I thought I wanted. Bright, witty, a little sarcastic, and effortlessly charming. We clicked fast. You know how sometimes you meet someone and it just feels like, finally? Well, I thought I had finally met someone who got me. At first, everything felt like a dream. We had inside jokes within weeks, late-night food runs, shared playlists, study sessions that turned into hours of just lying on the floor, talking about life. It felt easy, natural, real. And when she told me she loved me 3 months in, I believed it. I loved her back. I was a little more reserved in showing it. I'll admit that. I wasn't big on grand gestures or gushy romance, but I showed up. I remembered her favorite tea when she had cramps. I stayed on the phone when she had anxiety attacks at 3 a.m. I edited every one of her essays. I listened to her rant about friends, professors, bad days, all of it. That was my love language, being there. But apparently, that wasn't enough. Because 8 months in, things started changing. Slowly, subtly, but they did. She was suddenly too tired to talk some nights. She started locking her phone. Said it was about privacy boundaries, which I respected. I didn't snoop. I trusted her. God, I wish I hadn't. One night, she told me she needed space, that she was feeling overwhelmed. We had a mature talk, or so I thought. She promised we weren't breaking up, just slowing down. So I gave her that space. I didn't push. She said she was going to visit her cousin in another city for the weekend. Only she didn't. I found out 2 weeks later that she had gone on a trip with a guy from her lab group, a guy I knew she worked with, a guy she swore was just a friend. When I confronted her, she didn't even deny it. She admitted it, almost coldly, like confessing to cheating was less painful than lying to my face again. But then, she said the thing that broke me. I only did it because I felt neglected. You were never really there for me, the way I needed. I didn't feel loved. Let that sink in. She cheated, lied, disrespected me, and then tried to blame me for her betrayal. As if my quieter, more practical kind of love wasn't enough to keep her loyal. as if it was my fault she decided to sleep with someone else instead of talking to me, as if my reserved nature gave her permission to stomp on my trust. She tried to say she was seeking validation. Validation. What a loaded word. She wanted to feel wanted, so she went to someone else, while still calling me boyfriend, while I was buying her medicine when she was sick, while I was defending her when my friends said she seemed distant. I was devastated. I didn't scream. I didn't cry in front of her. I think some part of me went numb. I just looked at her and said, "If you wanted out, you could have just left." She shrugged. That shrug still haunts me, like my heartbreak was inconvenient. In the weeks that followed, I spiraled. I didn't eat. I barely slept. I started having dreams, nightmares, really, where I'd see her laughing with him, in my bed, on our couch, places we shared together. I'd wake up sweating, heart pounding. Her words echoing in my head. "You neglected me." It burrowed into my brain like rot. I started wondering, was she right? Did I somehow cause this? Was my version of love not good enough? Was there something broken in me that made me unlovable? That's the kind of poison cheating puts in your veins. It's not just betrayal. It's humiliation, shame, the kind that follows you like a shadow. Friends told me I dodged a bullet, that she was selfish, immature, that I deserved better. I knew that logically. But emotions don't work like that. Some nights I still opened her old messages, just to hurt myself more. I went through pictures, old texts, voice notes, replayed old phone calls, searched for the exact moment it all went wrong. I never found it. There was no single moment, because betrayal isn't always loud. Sometimes it sneaks in quiet and then detonates your entire world. I started therapy. I told my therapist I didn't think I could trust anyone ever again. She told me something that stuck with me. Her betrayal was her choice, not your responsibility. You gave her your trust. She broke it. That's on her. I've been trying to believe that ever since. I've been learning what healthy love looks like. I'm learning how to rebuild my self-worth, how to separate who I am from the way someone else treated me. And I'm not there yet, but I'm on the road. One day I got a message from her, months after we broke up. She said she was sorry for how things ended. I didn't respond, because I owe her nothing. Not closure, not kindness, not forgiveness, especially not when she tried to rewrite the narrative to make me the villain. I've started journaling again. I'm lifting weights. I reconnected with friends I'd isolated myself from. I'm laughing more. And no, I'm not dating. Not yet. Because healing isn't a race. And trust, real trust, isn't something I'm ready to give again. But one day I will be. If you're listening to this and you've been through something similar, please hear this. You are not broken because someone else broke your heart. You are not unworthy because someone failed to see your worth. You didn't deserve it. You're not to blame. You can still heal. And when you do, I hope you find someone who won't just love you loudly, but who will make you feel safe. Because love should never come with shame, or betrayal, or blame. Just peace. And I'm finally on my way to finding that. I always thought that if you knew someone for years, if you built something on friendship and trust, that you'd have a solid foundation for something more. That's what I believed when I started catching feelings for my best friend of 4 years. Let's call her Mia. Mia and I had one of those friendships where we told each other everything. Late-night phone calls, inside jokes, subtle touches when we laughed too hard. I didn't know it at the time, but all of it was laying the groundwork for something confusing. 2 years ago, she told me she had feelings for me. I was surprised, flattered, and a little confused. I hadn't really thought about her that way. But when she said, "Just give it a month, I usually get bored of guys fast, but I think you're different," I couldn't help but wonder, That month turned into 2, then 3, and by the 4th month, I was in deep. I'd fallen for her, hard. So when I finally worked up the nerve to tell her how I felt, I was expecting something out of a rom-com. You know, the whole "I've loved you this whole time" moment. Instead, she said, "I have to be honest. There's this other guy." Wait, what? Apparently, while I was falling for her, she'd been talking to some dude from her gym. They'd been flirty for weeks, and now she was torn. "I like both of you," she told me. "I don't know what to do." That should have been my cue to walk, but I didn't. Because I'd known her for years. Because I wanted to believe I mattered more. Because I thought we were real. So I stuck around. I watched her bounce between us like a tennis match for 4 painful months. Some days she was all about me. Other days she'd go silent. I always knew when she was with him, even if she didn't say it. Eventually, I couldn't take it anymore. I told her to choose. She cried. She begged me to stay. She said, "I choose you. I'll cut him off. You're the one I want." And because I'm a fool for hope, I believed her. We made it official. And for 18 months, we were a couple. Things weren't perfect, but I thought we were building something real. I thought the hard part was behind us. But then I found the texts. She'd never actually stopped talking to him. Not for a week, not for a day, not even after we got together. She'd been lying to me from the start. She kept him on the side for a whole month after we became exclusive. And the kicker? She didn't even end it. He did. When I confronted her, she denied it at first, cried, then finally confessed. She said, "I didn't want to lose either of you," as if that made it better. I was wrecked. I couldn't eat, couldn't sleep, couldn't look at her without seeing every moment she chose him over me. Every moment she lied and pretended everything was okay. We decided to take a break. But really, I think I knew it was over. Now, weeks later, I'm still stuck. I haven't spoken to her since. She hasn't reached out either. Maybe that's for the best, but here's where it gets worse. Mia knew from the beginning how I felt about certain boundaries. I told her I wasn't okay with her being close friends with other guys while we were together. It wasn't about insecurity. It was about past trauma and trust. She said she understood, but little by little, she pushed back. First it was, "Oh, he's just a friend from college." Then it became, "Well, he's in my project group, so I have to talk to him." Then it turned into her crying about how unfair it was that I didn't trust her. She manipulated me into feeling like I was the bad guy for asking her to respect a boundary she agreed to from the start. And I let it slide again and again because I didn't want to seem controlling, because I wanted to believe she was telling the truth. But now I realize that every one of those friendships was just a new door left open, a safety net in case things with me didn't work out. Just like that first guy. And now I can't stop wondering, was I ever really her first choice? Or was I just the one who stuck around long enough for her to settle? I feel like I was a placeholder in my own relationship. I feel cheated, emotionally, mentally, physically. Even now, when I see her photos online, I feel this weird cocktail of anger, sadness, and longing. I know she's no good for me. I know that. But my heart hasn't caught up yet. I've been replaying every moment in my head, every "I love you," every smile, every night we spent watching dumb movies and sharing inside jokes. Were those real for her? Or just filler until something better came along? That's the part that kills me. I want to believe I meant something, that we meant something. But it's hard to believe that when the person you trusted the most becomes the one who breaks you the hardest. Right now, I'm trying to rebuild. Slowly, I'm seeing a therapist. I've picked up some new hobbies. I deleted our photos. Blocked her number, unfollowed her everywhere. But the scars remain. I don't know if I'll ever fully trust someone again. I don't know if I'll ever look at a romantic partner without wondering who else they're talking to. But I do know this. I won't ever be someone's backup plan again. If someone can't choose me fully, then I'd rather be alone than be someone's second option. To anyone out there going through something similar, please know this. Your worth isn't defined by how someone else treats you. Sometimes people lie. Sometimes they manipulate. Sometimes they make you feel like you're the crazy one for setting boundaries. But that doesn't mean your boundaries are wrong. It doesn't mean your feelings aren't valid. If you feel like you're always fighting to be seen, always fighting to be enough, always being told you're too much or too jealous or too insecure, maybe you're just with the wrong person. And if you are, walk away. But staying in a relationship where you're always questioning your place, that's impossible. You deserve more than half love. You deserve more than maybes. You deserve more than lies dressed up as love. You deserve honesty, commitment, real, intentional love. And that starts with choosing yourself, even when it hurts.